There are names that whisper of evil, names that evoke images of fire, of torment, of a darkness that seeks to consume all light. For millennia, one such name has been used to frighten children and to represent the ultimate villain in the Greek pantheon, Hades. We have been taught to see him as a devil, the jailer of souls, a monster lurking in the shadows. But this perception, fueled by centuries of misunderstanding and simplification, is a profound injustice. The true story of Hades is not about a villain. It is about a king. And it is, above all else, a tragedy of duty. Our story begins at the dawn of the Age of Gods. After the great war against the Titans, the universe was a blank canvas, and the three victorious sons of Cronus, Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades met to divide it. They did not choose their kingdoms. They drew lots, leaving their destiny to fate. Zeus, the youngest, drew the heavens, the glorious sunlit sky from which he would rule as king of all gods. Poseidon drew the seas, a wild, untamable kingdom of immense power and beauty. And Hades, the eldest brother, drew the last lot, the one neither of his brothers wanted, the darkness below, the underworld. He was not cast down. He was not exiled for a crime. He was assigned a duty by the random hand of fate. And while his brothers' kingdoms were filled with life, light, and adventure, his was a realm of dust and memory, a kingdom of silence, populated only by the fading echoes of lives already lived. He accepted his fate. He descended into his gloomy domain to begin a thankless task that would last for eternity. He is not the god of death. That is a common and critical mistake. The embodiment of death was a separate being, Thanatos, who would come to mortals at their appointed hour. Hades was not the reaper. He was the receiver, the custodian. His duty was not to cause death, but to preside over what came after, to ensure that the river of souls flowed in one direction, to maintain the great, unbreachable barrier between the living and the dead, a barrier that protects the cosmic order itself. While the gods on Mount Olympus meddled, loved, and fought, there lives a cascade of drama and passion. Hades ruled in solitude. His kingdom was vast and orderly. The newly dead would be brought across the river Styx by the grim ferryman, Charon. The gates of his palace were guarded by Cerberus, the monstrous three-headed hound, who was not a prisoner but a loyal guardian, ensuring that the living could not enter and the dead could not leave. It was a kingdom of absolute justice, if not of mercy. The great fields of asphodel were for the ordinary souls who had lived lives of no particular distinction. The pits of Tartarus were for the truly wicked, those who had committed crimes so terrible they offended the gods themselves, like Tantalus, who served the gods his own son, or Sisyphus, who had the arrogance to cheat death twice. These were not the punishments of a sadistic jailer, but the judgments of a king upholding the law. But his kingdom was one of shadows, and he was profoundly alone. He watched his brothers take wives, father children, and filled their halls with life. His own halls were silent, filled only with ghosts. And this loneliness, this eternal ache for a single speck of light in his world of darkness, would lead to the most infamous act of his. He saw Persephone, the daughter of Demeter, the goddess of the harvest. She was the embodiment of spring, of life, flowers, and sunlight. She was everything his kingdom was not. and he desired her with a desperation that only an eternity of solitude can create. So he committed a terrible act. He burst forth from the earth in his chariot and took her. He did not woo her, he stole her. It was a crime born of loneliness, but a crime nonetheless. He brought the goddess of spring down into the land of the dead. But the story does not end there. It changes. He did not lock her in a dungeon. He brought her to his obsidian throne. He did not make her a slave. He offered her a crown. He showed her his kingdom, not as a prison, but as an empire that she could rule by his side. He, the king of the unseen, was offering to share his power, his throne, his entire existence with her. And in time, a strange thing happened. Persephone, the girl who was stolen, became a queen. She grew to understand the necessity of her husband's domain. She became a formidable, respected, and sometimes feared ruler of the underworld in her own right, dispensing her own justice. Theirs was not a simple love story. It was a complex union of two opposing forces, darkness and light, death and life, that found a strange, compelling balance. The myth of the 6 pomegranate seeds she ate, sealing her fate to return for 6 months of every year, is a metaphor for this balance, for the turning of the seasons, as the world mourns her descent and rejoices at her return. The Greeks themselves did not view Hades as evil. They feared him, yes, for he represented the finality that awaits all mortals. They rarely spoke his name aloud, preferring to call him Plauten, the Rich One, a reference to the untold mineral and spiritual wealth that lies beneath the earth. But they did not see him as a devil. He was a god of grim necessity. Unlike his brother Zeus, who constantly broke his vows, Hades was famously faithful to his queen. Unlike his brother Poseidon, whose rage could shatter coastlines, Hades' rule was stable and unwavering. He rarely left his kingdom, and he rarely interfered in the affairs of mortals or gods. He simply did his job. So when we look back, past the modern interpretations and the demonic caricatures, we find a different figure entirely. A being of immense power, burdened with the most difficult role in the cosmos. A lonely king who committed a crime for love, but who created a queen in the process. A god whose entire existence is a testament to the fact that the most necessary jobs are often the most thankless. He is not the villain of the story. He is the guardian of its ending. And his silent, eternal vigil in the dark is what allows the world of light above to continue spinning.